The sun rose that day like any other, warm rays peeking through the blinds, the faint rustle of morning life outside. Yet, inside, an invisible storm brewed. My wife, the woman who had been my anchor and partner for 10 years, 4 of them as husband and wife, sat on our patio, visibly distressed. Her silhouette against the soft glow of dawn was a picture I'll never forget, her shoulders trembling slightly, her head bowed. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. I approached her cautiously, the way you would when you see someone trying to hold back a dam of emotions, unsure if one word might cause it to break. "What's wrong?" I asked, trying to steady my voice, already feeling my stomach churn with unease. She looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen, the tears already streaming freely now. She choked on her words, as though each syllable cut her throat, but finally, they spilled out, "I'm a lesbian, and I'm so sorry." Time slowed. The world, the house, everything we had built together felt like it was imploding in on itself. Her words weren't just sentences, they were a sledgehammer, shattering the carefully crafted life we shared. My mind raced, fear and confusion overtaking every rational thought. What did this mean for us? For her? For me? Could we fix it? Was this the end? She reassured me, or at least tried to, saying she wasn't going to leave, that we could try therapy, figure out a way to navigate this together. I clung to her words like a drowning man to driftwood, desperate for some semblance of stability. Of course, I agreed. What else could I do? But just as I began to grasp the magnitude of this revelation, life dealt me another blow. 3 days later, my mother called with devastating news. My stepdad had been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. The hits kept coming. Just 3 days after that, my father informed me that my stepmom had been diagnosed with skin cancer. The room spun. It felt like the universe was targeting me, stripping away every ounce of strength I had left. My stepmom was fortunate, surgery saved her. But my stepdad, he wasn't so lucky. He passed away in November, a kind, funny, deeply admirable man, now a heartbreaking memory. I missed him terribly. With all these events crashing down on me in a single week, my life spiraled. I became unrecognizable to myself. I stopped going to work. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I existed, barely. My days were spent on the couch, a zombie numbing himself with hockey podcasts and weed. My wife, the one person I'd always turned to, was a shadow of her usual self. She retreated inward, as though she, too, was trying to process the chaos of her revelation and its fallout. To understand her better, let me give some context. My wife had battled anxiety her entire life. The thought of a difficult conversation was enough to reduce her to tears. For years, that anxiety had shaped her interactions and decisions. But just months before this seismic shift in our relationship, she'd started taking anti-anxiety medication. For the first time, she was able to confront her emotions and speak openly, unfiltered. And now, this newfound clarity had led her to tell me the truth about herself. It was liberating for her, but devastating for me. She told me not only that she was gay but also about the countless moments over the past 10 years where I had failed her, times I had been inconsiderate, inattentive, or just not enough as a partner. I had always believed we communicated well, but it turned out that was just my perspective. I thought I was a wonderful husband. I genuinely tried to be thoughtful, caring, and compassionate. I never cheated, I was never abusive, and we rarely argued. And when we did fight, we always worked through it like adults. Or so I thought. But I wasn't meeting her needs in the ways she truly needed. And the worst part? She never told me. How could I have known? Listening to her recount all those little moments where I had let her down, it hit me like a freight train. The pain was indescribable, but amidst it all, a tiny spark of hope flickered. A mission. A purpose. I couldn't change the fact that she was gay, but I could fight for our marriage. I could fix what I had broken. Determined, I threw myself into making amends. I planned surprises to show her I cared, like a picnic under the stars. I booked tickets to the circus and even made reservations at her favorite restaurant, something I had never done before. I began learning French, her native language, as a French Canadian. I took charge of planning our next vacation. I even started writing her a song and offering to teach her guitar, something she always wanted to learn. Every single day for the next 2 months became a canvas for me to paint my love for her in every imaginable way. She also opened up to me about wanting children. Years earlier, we had both agreed that kids weren't part of our future. But her feelings had changed, and for her, I was willing to adapt. I promised her, again and again, that I was ready to embrace that dream with her. In May, she left for a week-long girls' trip to the Dominican Republic, a trip she had planned long before all this began. We agreed on minimal contact while she was away so she could have the space to reflect and figure out what she truly wanted. The day before she left, we reconnected in an intimate way that gave me hope, even for just a moment. For the first time in 2 months, it felt like maybe, just maybe, things would be okay. But when she returned, she made her decision. Our marriage was over. Adding to the heartbreak, we had just moved into a new house with roommates a few months earlier, and neither of us could afford for her to move out right away without devastating ourselves and everyone else financially. Living in Vancouver, where rent is sky high, we had no choice but to stay under the same roof. For a while, we shared the room. On some nights, even the bed. But the pain became unbearable. Eventually, I converted the backyard shed into my own space. It wasn't glamorous, just a futon, an air conditioner, and a TV, but it was my sanctuary for the summer. As time passed, she started dating someone new. Slowly but surely, her presence at home dwindled until she was practically gone. She continued paying her share of the rent, but emotionally, she had moved on. Meanwhile, my world crumbled. Tragedy surrounded me on all sides. One of my closest friends lost his mom to cancer. A high school friend of mine lost his wife to the same cruel disease, a woman I had watched fall in love, get married, and start a family with him, only for it all to end so tragically. Then, weeks before my stepdad passed away, my stepsister's partner took his own life. The grief was relentless. The weight of so much loss in such a short period of time felt insurmountable. There were moments, dark and heavy, where I considered ending it all. But the thought of what that would do to my parents kept me tethered. For all the heartbreak, though, there were slivers of light. I quit my toxic job in May, a job that paid well but drained the life out of me. It was a leap into the unknown, but it led me to my dream job months later. Now, I work in the guitar department of a major music retailer, playing, testing, and fixing guitars every day. It's like getting paid to breathe life into my passion. And somehow, amidst the chaos, there were moments of joy. A few friends and I entered a radio contest on a whim last summer. To our shock, we won. Our 30-second commercial was chosen out of over 80 entries, earning us $10,000 in nationwide recognition. My ex-wife even saw our commercial play on a movie screen once. I also found a creative outlet in starting a small channel with a friend, where we made silly reaction videos. It wasn't wildly successful, but it brought laughter into my life. And then, last November, everything changed. I met someone. She had also come out of a long-term marriage that ended for similar reasons. We connected instantly, and by New Year's Day, we were officially together. She's everything I could have hoped for: brilliant, talented, and compassionate. She's inspired me to pick up painting, and I've encouraged her to learn guitar. Together, we're healing. My ex-wife and I remain on good terms. We both want the best for each other. She even stood by me during my stepdad's final moments. Her friendship with my mom continues, which warms my heart. She officially moved out this past March, marking the end of one chapter and the start of another. It's been a tumultuous journey, from breaking down in tears multiple times a day to finding myself here, with the best job I've ever had and a promising new relationship. At one point, I thought I wouldn't survive it all. But I did. And for that, I'm grateful.